Hello and welcome to this special presentation right here on NDTV. एक राज्य है, नया नया बना और इस बात को भी 8 साल हो गए. 8 years ago, India saw its latest state, the youngest state in the country. हम बात कर रहे हैं तेलंगाना की. So how has Telangana's journey been over the past 8 years? This foundation day of Telangana, we find out. आप इसको रिपोर्ट कार्ड भी समझ सकते हैं. You can also consider this a sort of an assessment on how the 8 years have been और आगे के 8 साल, 10 साल, 20 साल उसकी विजन क्या है? What's the vision of Telangana beyond this point? I have some guests right here with me. I would like to introduce them one by one. First of all, Mr. Arvind Kumar, Additional Chief Secretary to the Government of Telangana. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Kumar. We have Mr. Mahinder Reddy. He's the DGP of Telangana. Thank you very much. Lots of questions will be asked about policing, about law and order, which I shall direct to you. We also have Dr. Ranjit Reddy. He is a member of Parliament. Thank you very much, Mr. Reddy, for joining us. Some political questions will come your way, so be ready. We have Ms. Anu Acharya, the CEO of Map My Genome. तेलंगाना एक हेल्थ हब की तरह डेवलप हो रहा है. आप उसको किस तरीके से देखती हैं उसके बारे में आपसे बात करेंगे. एंड व्हाट डज तेलंगाना मीन फॉर द यूथ? Young content creators are also with us. Thank you very much, Ms. Divya Bopanna, for joining us. आपसे भी सवाल पूछेंगे. So let's kickstart this journey. Mr. Kumar, I want to begin with you. 8 years on, आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या बदला है? As a person who has been involved in both administration, you're also taking care of the information wing, urban development, you've worked over a number of profiles. आपको क्या लगता है 8 साल में what has changed?
So, मैं अगर इसको शॉर्ट में बताना चाहूँ तो आई थिंक 8 साल में जो स्केल ऑफ डेवलपमेंट हुआ है विद इन अ स्पैन ऑफ 8 years, इतना डेवलपमेंट होना इटसेल्फ मेरे लिए जो है सबसे बड़ी अचीवमेंट है. इस दौरान मैं एनर्जी डिपार्टमेंट में था, इंडस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट था और अभी म्यूनिसिपल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन डिपार्टमेंट में है. 2014 में जब स्टेट बना था तब से लेके तब पावर डेफिसिट था. विद इन 8 months पावर डेफिसिट से पावर सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी में आया और आज सरप्लस है. इंडस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट में नई पॉलिसी आई जिसकी वजह से ऑलमोस्ट करीब 1 million एम्प्लॉयमेंट इस 8 साल में क्रिएट हुआ. 20,000 नई इंडस्ट्रीज आई. और अब मैं अर्बन डेवलपमेंट में हूँ तो जिस तरह से अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में डेवलपमेंट हुआ है तो मैं ये कहूँगा कि अगर हम कहीं और देखें तो यही डेवलपमेंट शायद 2 दशक या 3 दशक भी लग सकता था. तो ये जो स्केल ऑफ डेवलपमेंट हुआ है इतने कम समय में, ये एक बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट.
आपने वो टाइम आप कह रहे हैं वो कम लगा जितना बाकी जगह लगता है. To the DGP of Telangana, you know, obviously a lot of questions will be asked as far as law and order is concerned. When the state was formed, it came out of, a sort of an agitation on the ground. One did see a sort of questions being raised on how is Telangana going to behave itself on the law and order front from here on, being divorced from its parent state of Andhra Pradesh. In these 8 years, would you say that this is an impression the state has been able to handle well? For instance, what would you think that on the law and order front will be your key achievements?
As you rightly pointed out, at the time of the formation of the state, there were several apprehensions whether the Naxal problem would revive, the problem of the communal violence would revive, the terrorism would come back, and similarly, the major public order situations would come back because it's going to be a small state. But then in the last 8 years of the existence of Telangana, the government of Telangana has given highest priority as far as the public safety is concerned. Today, we can very confidently say that after 8 years, we didn't have a single incident of communal violence in Hyderabad city. We have completely ensured that the state is free from Maoist activity. And we also didn't have a single incident of terrorism. And no public order situations in any part of the state in the last 8 years. It's a significant achievement as far as the government is concerned, the police department is concerned. In terms of the modernization of the police force, we have gone to a stage where we are one of the best police organizations in the country in modernization. We have always used the technology as a force multiplier. Our emergency management system, any citizen, any part of the state, 24/7, irrespective of his status, whether rich or poor, anyone in distress, we are able to reach within 8 minutes, especially in Hyderabad city within 5 minutes. Coming to the women's safety, we have the IT professionals, the women working in various cities of the country. And when we talk to them, they always say that having experienced all over the country, Hyderabad is the best as far as the
But
safety
Mr.
is
Reddy, let
concerned.
me ask you this. See, how much of this has to do with the fact that Hyderabad was always this way or always a shade better if you compare it to, say, a certain other city? And how much did you impact or make a change over the past 8 years?
Yes, we had several occasions where there used to be curfews in Hyderabad city for weeks, months together in the past. But we confidently say that in the last 8 years, we did not have a single situation. We have now 9.21 lakh CCTV cameras on the ground in the state.
Oh, okay.
And
In the state?
in the state.
Okay.
And Hyderabad itself has more than 7 lakh CCTV cameras. We are very proud to say that we have the largest number of CCTV cameras when compared to any other state in the country.
Oh, okay. Okay. This is fantastic.
And Telangana government, in terms of the emergency response management, at one go they have added more than 17,000 vehicles, new vehicles to the fleet. When the state was formed, it was 5,000 vehicles. Today we have 22,000 vehicles on the ground and 24/7 moving in every part of the state and providing sense of safety and security.
Vehicles
to
as in the
people.
PCR vans, police
The
control room vans.
Police control rooms, the bikes, the cars, and also the support, logistic support systems to the police department. In terms of any emergency, the department should have the capacity to respond and contain the situations locally.
Sure.
That's where we have really progressed. And in terms of the use of technologies, we are very proud to say that Telangana Police is ahead of all other police organizations in the country.
Okay, okay. Dr. Reddy, I want to come to you now. You see, the formation of this state is a history that we all know. The struggle of that also we know. But the state is now formed. I want to ask you, politically speaking, and we have seen that the TRS has repeated itself also in an election, so you will soon be completing 10 years of your rule in the state. Post the formation of the state, what would you quantify as the big achievement of this government?
Sankeet, when you started, you said that Nai Nai Bana is Telangana. Though we are considered as the youngest state of the country, we are no more young in any of the sector. In all the sabhi raison mein hum novices hai. You take any sector, we are in the top 3. So as you rightly asked and as you rightly said, we have repeated our performance in the second term and we are going to repeat for the third term also.
How are you confident that you will be able to do it?
The Telangana state, what it was in 2014, what it is in 2022, you ask anyone, they'll say. And when it comes to stats, let's talk about the stats only. The GDP, when it was formed, it was around 5 lakh crores. Today, it is 11 lakh 48,000 crores. That is one of the biggest index because the fastest growing state in the country is Telangana. Second thing is, whenever any state, whenever any individual, whenever any family is measured or counted, it has to be per capita. So when a comparison is made between two friends or two families, the income is the basis for that. So when you talk about the per capita income which was 1,23,000 when we were formed in 2014, now it is 2,78,330 rupees, which is the highest in the country. What was the per capita? That itself is a measure. Because when you have the highest per capita income in the country, that measures in all the fronts. So when you talk about the agri sector, which my Honorable CM is KCR is really famous for working on the sector. The agriculture, when it was where the status of agriculture was in 2014 and what it is now, when you talk about that, there was no water for irrigation, there was no drinking water during that time, there was no electricity also. As Mr. Arvind sir has rightly said, when he was the power concerned secretary, what was the power sector position in the state? We had around 7,750 megawatts. Now the capacity what we have about 17,000 odd megawatts. That itself is the index. We are the highest per capita consumption of the power also. So when you talk about the agriculture sector, we have grown by almost 9%. 9% is the contribution of the GDP of agri sector. When it comes to the irrigation projects also, the biggest lift, man-made lift irrigation, wherein we have moved the water from 90 meters to 800 odd meters height. And we have traversed more than 2,000 kilometers to supply IACAT for about 45 lakh acres in the states. So that was the vision what he had before achieving Telangana, and what all he has promised during that agitation he has fulfilled. When it comes to the input subsidy also, agriculture is most of the agriculture. What the problem will be everywhere, including elsewhere in the world also. The capital input they'll not have, so they'll borrow money. They'll grow the crop. When they sell the crop, they'll not get the money sufficiently to repay back the loans. So with a big heart, our Honorable KCR has spent more than 50,000 crores in the last 7 years, giving 10,000 rupees per acre per year as a capital and no conditions asked. Mm-hmm. So with that, what has happened? The agriculture has grown this much. It has grown by 18%. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we are producing more than 2 crores of tons of paddy every year, which is the highest. We have become Annapurna of the country now.
Okay. Ms. Anu Acharya, I want to come to you now. You are the CEO of this company called Map My Genome. Now, Hyderabad and Telangana, Hyderabad particularly, apart from positioning itself as an IT hub, is also trying to position itself as a hub for the healthcare sector. We know that one of the vaccines comes from Hyderabad, is manufactured here.
Two actually,
yes, of course, two. आपको क्या लगता है कि कितना एफर्ट गया है पिछले 8 साल में टू बी एबल टू एग्जैक्ट दिस चेंज, और आगे क्या करने की ज़रूरत है?
सो एक तो मैं ये कहती हूँ कि हैदराबाद जो तेलंगाना स्टेट में है, स्टेट के डीएनए में काफ़ी हमने इनहेरिट किया है, क्योंकि जैसे फार्मास्यूटिकल बैकग्राउंड है तो एपीआई इंडस्ट्री का मतलब कैपिटल रहे हैं काफ़ी सालों से. 2000s में first I think we came up with the Genome Valley when everyone else was thinking about Silicon Valley and many other things. So I think some part of it was definitely inherited. I'm more a transplant from Rajasthan, US, Bengal, and then I came here 20 years ago.
Wow.
And
how accommodating, huh?
I can tell now that I will not go anywhere else, because I think Telangana provides a fantastic infrastructure, both in terms of being a company in the health space, but also in general in terms of being a company and being a safe place for everyone to be. I think what is interesting is all the beautiful infrastructure that you see, which I think every time someone comes to visit me is always astonished as to what has happened. But when it comes to health, I think you definitely needed the background that was there in terms of the industry that were already pre-existing. But what has happened over the last 8 years, I think, has been that your base level infrastructure has improved. Your IT industry has improved, and as a result, I think the combination of technology as well as the existing infrastructure industries that were there has allowed us to be able to transform healthcare in many ways, right? Mm-hmm. So whether it is in terms of looking at things like diagnostics, looking at healthcare, looking at hospitals, I think we have the largest number of hospitals in the city as well. So I think it all adds up. And with the IT industry, now what we are seeing is that you're being able to combine the technology with whatever you have, in whether it's in vaccines, whether it's in pharmaceuticals, whether it is in the other healthcare or in the genomic space.
मैं ये सवाल इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ कि आपको कैसे लगता है कि पिछले 8 साल में इस सेक्टर को जो यहाँ का पॉलिटिकल डिस्पेंसेशन है, that has been an enabler. आपको कैसे लगता है? How do you see or witness that change? और आप, मैं नहीं समझता और कोई यहाँ पर बेहतर, आपने ये बदलाव होते हुए देखा है. Like you have seen what things were earlier and how they have been over the past 8 years.
So I think it is a very, the whole So I'm saying infrastructure is part of that, right? I mean, when you are running a company, you need to have power, you need to have safety, because if you want to attract good talent, you need to create that environment. So one is that definitely I think Hyderabad is, the safest city that we can think of. It has beautiful infrastructure, and I've been able to convince a lot of people not to move to Bangalore and come to Hyderabad.
Come to Hyderabad. Oh,
right?
wow.
And I think it is. I think
Why?
That's
Anyway,
not
we are not spreading enmity between
not at all,
cities here. But
we
why?
now have a lab in Bangalore also.
Huh.
But I think it is more that it has been a fantastic place to do business in, right? From where I have come from. And I think it is that whole, one is definitely the infrastructure. Second is it's a very open, and if I need to reach out to anybody in the government, it is a very open way of being able to seek out help as well, right? So I think that part is also very good for anybody who's looking to start business here or to continue doing business.
Interesting, क्योंकि अक्सर ये दलील दी जाती है कि सरकारें सरकारी हैं, तो इस वजह से बड़ी दिक्कत होती है. And these references we have seen, we've all grown up listening to this government apathy, bureaucratic apathy. तो आपको लगता है कि वो
काफी at least यहाँ पे तो इतनी मुझे तो नहीं दिखती है. So I think there has been a change. I think we see a lot of whether it is people who are in the
how responsiveness to your query. Or otherwise,
or also being proactive, right? I mean, whether it is saying that
in remedying it.
Yeah. So some of it is more like if I want to know something, I can approach and get some answer. The second is also, I think a lot of times there are reach outs that are coming out to businesses.
Okay.
Right. So when COVID started, for instance, I think I remember that all the companies that were involved in that space were called by individual with the ministry and other things. So I think it's things like that, right? We are consulted as part of the process. Okay. So I think that's a good thing, because when you have somebody who's able to, not create that distance or that, mistrust, I think both the industries do well and also the government.
True. Okay. Before I come to you, see, you spoke about a lot of people, you convincing a lot of people to come here, youngsters feeling safe, there being an infrastructure or an environment for there to be change and for people to accept. But how does young India perceive it? We have Miss Divya Bopanna with us.
Yes.
And Divya, I'm going to come to you. We are going to stop for a short break for our audience to ponder what the young at heart feel. Of course, everybody is young at heart, but we'll find out from the young what they feel about their state. एक छोटे से ब्रेक के लिए रुक रहे हैं, अभी हाजिर होंगे. Welcome once again. 8 years on, what has Telangana achieved and what it hopes to achieve from here on. We continue our broadcast right here from a very iconic location in Hyderabad. And before we went into a break, हम बात कर रहे थे युवा पीढ़ी की. वो अपने आप को किस तरीके से इस राज्य में देखते हैं, अपना भविष्य किस तरीके का देखते हैं. And we are delighted to have a young one right here, Miss Divya Bopanna, who is
Thank you so much for
born and brought up in Telangana. Has seen, how old are you? A very, very
22.
impolite question, but sorry?
I'm 22.
22. So you have seen 8 years.
Yeah.
Particularly the time when a lot of when a lot of girls complain of law and order. That's where they need law and order backing the most, when they're venturing out of their house. So maybe she can corroborate what you've been saying. Divya, first of all, do you go out at night?
Yes, and I'm really proud to say that Hyderabad is one of the safest cities in India. Trust me when I say this.
How?
How? I think there's checkpoints, let it be drunk and drive or police checkpoints every corner of the street. I see them. So whenever I go out for any occasion, when I come back, I see police literally every corner of the city. So that just gives me that sense of confidence. I think that is very important. It wasn't the case back in the day when my parents or my sisters or anyone elder, they weren't so safe before. But now when I look at it, I think I can go home at 2 o'clock at night and I don't have to fear about it. Even let it be from coming back from the airport or anywhere, I think that checkpoints, and even, I can see there's an activity of police and
that you say
shootings.
gives you a sense of comfort.
It does. It
and
does.
safety,
Yes.
more important.
Yes.
Let's talk about aspirations. Do you see yourself staying in Telangana to perhaps have a future, or as is usually the case, you do see that the young in many other parts of this country often think of getting out of where they are, perhaps to a place where they can fulfill their dreams and ambitions?
Yes, like a big yes, because like everyone here spoke about infrastructure. I think for the last couple of years, the infrastructure has grown, and Mr. Ketia sir has given T Hub for us, V Hub for us, where they're engaging new talent, and there are people from other cities coming here and being part of such institutions, which is a great credit that we can give to the state. So in terms of
Would you like to elaborate what is this T Hub, V Hub?
So T Hub is a startup incubator started by Telangana state, and V Hub is for women entrepreneurs especially. So T Hub is mostly technology driven, and V Hub is mostly women driven organization.
So it's a co-working space where everyone can come together and...
It's a co-working space, and also the government provides contacts and collaborations with really prestigious institutions and companies as well.
That's very nice.
And provide various infrastructure and resources.
This is very interesting. I think you may want to say something about this.
So I'm on the board of V Hub, and I would say one thing.
On V Hub?
V Hub.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things is that we are also looking at getting grants, right? So there are lots of different programs that are there. So it's not just that you get a working space for X amount of money, that it's low. But it's mostly about how do you, one, make sure that you can connect to the right kind of funding agencies. That's an important thing. The second is also to be able to make sure that you have the right contacts so your business can grow. The third is they also provide the right kind of mentoring and ability to be able to actually then say, how do you move that to the next level? So move from being a small scale to actually...
तो मतलब ना केवल सरकार एक बिल्डिंग बना रही है, उसमें एक कोवर्किंग एटमॉस्फेयर है, और उसके बाद जो वहाँ काम कर रहे हैं उनको सरकार से जो भी उम्मीद हो या सरकार असिस्ट करे कि भाई आपको किससे मिलना है, आप जो काम कर रहे हैं उसमें आपको क्या सुविधा चाहिए, किस डिपार्टमेंट से आपका इंटरफेस होगा, ये सब भी सुविधाएं मुहैया कराई जाती हैं।
सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट के ही नहीं,
इंक्यूबेशन
हाँ, सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट के साथ ही नहीं, बट ऑल्सो कि आपको टैक्सेस में कुछ, मतलब एक तो वो टैक्सेस वगैरह जो व्हाट यू नीड टू डू रन फॉर अ बिजनेस, बट ऑल्सो अगर आपको एक स्मॉल बिजनेस किए हैं उसको कैसे गो टू मार्केट करने के लिए कौन से मेंटर से आपको कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. तो जैसे अगर किसी ने अच्छी कुछ एक लेट्स से साबुन बनाई हो फॉर इंस्टेंस, तो उसको अगर कहाँ पे जाके प्लेस करना होगा, वैसे टाइप के, जैसे अगर किसी ने जीनोमिक किया, डीएनए टेस्ट किया हो, वो कहाँ पे करेंगे. सो आई थिंक इट इज़ बियॉन्ड a co-working space. It's a much more to accelerate their growth.
Like a very elaborated, Mr. Kumar, I want to come to you and ask you, is this a sort of a formulation which has been tried first here? मतलब यहाँ इस चीज़ के बारे में किया गया है कि सिर्फ एक जगह इकट्ठा करके काम करना ही नहीं है या सुरक्षा ही प्रोवाइड करना नहीं है, एक एनवायरनमेंट या इंक्यूबेटर जैसे आप कह रहे हैं, एक आप वातावरण दें कि लोग फिर बिजनेस में ग्रो कर सकें.
See, basically, I think government believes that it has to be an all-encompassing kind of enabling structure which needs to be created. So basically, Minister IT keeps talking about innovate and incubate. So basically, it's kind of a place where young entrepreneurs are encouraged to kind of innovate, incubate, and then some sort of hand-holding, whether it's white angel kind of funding or grants or private sector funding or marketing tie-up. So these kind of things. So it's not just T-Hub and V-Hub. We have lot of such cases in other sectors also where similar kind of encouragement or hand-holding is being given.
अच्छा, एक चीज़ मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ कि and maybe Dr. Reddy can come in on this. एक तो हो गया कि ये तेलंगाना के लोग जो हैं वो उनके लिए है. हमने देखा है बहुत सारे स्टेट्स में the natives get a priority over the resources. नौकरी होगी तो उसमें एक रिजर्वेशन होगा फॉर, चाहे वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर हो. आपने देखा है these are controversial decisions. अगर कोई आदमी बाहर से आ रहा है और वो टी हब और वी हब के इंक्यूबेटर्स को इस्तेमाल करना चाहता है, तो उसके लिए भी क्या तेलंगाना सरकार प्रोवाइड करेगी, या ये सिर्फ तेलंगाना में रहने वाले लोगों के लिए?
नहीं, we are broad-minded. What we say is we have come up with such a huge space. What our Honorable Minister K.T. Ramarao has visioned was, so when you
Basically, anyone can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also foreigners, like people from outside also.
So
Outside India.
I'll just give some figures for that. Like
Ji.
for example, under the new industrial policy, just to kind of give some figures, about 20,000 units were sanctioned. 1,33 crores worth of investment came in, and about 9.7 lakh, about 1 million employment is created. Further to corroborate, Novartis has about 9,000 employees in their unit here, Facebook, Amazon, Google, and there are a number of facilitation centers. Now, it's not just people from Telangana who are there,
correct.
but it's all over across
नहीं,
the
पर ये
country.
तो बड़ी
So-
कंपनीज हो गई. मेरा सवाल ये था कि ये जो इंक्यूबेटर्स हैं, इसमें जाहिर सी बात है कोई स्टार्टअप या छोटी कंपनी लेकर के आएगा, तो वो कोई भी आ सकता है. जैसे कल को अगर मैं यहाँ हूँ और मैं काम करना शुरू कर दूँ इस इंक्यूबेटर में,
You are most welcome. In fact, it's based on technology. It's based on the potential, and irrespective of where you are from, I think it's the entrepreneur who is being encouraged to kind of
Interesting.
stay
succeed.
here for another 2 days, you can't go out of Hyderabad.
and you will give me biryani also, huh?
Daily.
Then there will be a problem. And speaking of food, I want to introduce Mr. Palla Rajeshwar Reddy. आप MLC हैं तेलंगाना राष्ट्र समिति के, और एक और इनकी जो उपलब्धि है, जो इनका एक टाइटल है, वो बताना ज़रूरी है. आप चेयरमैन हैं रायतू बंधु समिति के.
यस
मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो रायतू बंधु है, इसके बारे में बहुत बात हुआ. रायतू बंधु जो तेलुगु में इसको जो मैं समझता हूँ, एंड पार्डन माय तेलुगु बिकॉज ये मेरी नेटिव लैंग्वेज नहीं है. रायतू मीन्स फार्मर, बंधु मीन्स दोस्त, तो किसान का दोस्त. इस मुहिम के तहत अंडर दिस इनिशिएटिव ऐसा क्या किया है इस सरकार ने?
basically Raitu Bandhu Samiti is a organization to cover unorganized kisans into a single platform. So now in the name of Raitu Bandhu Samiti we are organizing all these unorganized farmers, and we are giving actually whatever the facilities extended by the government to the farmers. We are only facilitators. We are actually educating them on the issue. And I think I might have given a chance to speak on the agriculture sector in Telangana in the last 8 years. Recently, Niti Aayog also have come out with a report in which they clearly mentioned that the state Telangana has contributed the highest to the Indian economy in the last 10 years, starting from 2010 to 2020. This is one of Ramesh Chandra of Niti Aayog member has given the report, and we are second. First one is the Sikkim, which has only the 6 lakhs population. But we have become number one after 2004, after 2014. Within 8 years, we have become number one in the contribution of from agriculture to the economy, Indian economy. So for that, we have given the required inputs. Any farmer, anywhere, requires the 3 basic inputs. First thing is the irrigation. Second one, the input support. Third one, helping in the marketing. First thing, whatever the irrigation required, the pending projects were completed. The biggest project in the world, lift irrigation, lifted water from Godavari 100 meters to 650 meters. This is the biggest, and which we have completed within the 3 years time, which is the record time nowhere in the world happened. So we have almost because of this irrigation facilities, we are able to produce the highest volume of the paddy. Earlier, the Punjab was actually leading this one. 2 crore metric tons of the paddy given to the FCI. But where we have given 141 lakh metric tons, but remaining, because we consume paddy only, rice, out of the paddy only we consume, all of the Telangana people. So we have become number one in the paddy production, cotton production, and also actually we are leading in the agriculture. So for that we have given the irrigation at free of cost. And we have the 30 lakh bore wells and the pump sets, nowhere in India. And for that we are giving free power, nowhere in India, free power for 24 hours, quality power, uninterrupted power. Even in Gujarat it is not possible now. They are asking for the, at least you give 6 hours. They are unable to give. But we are able to give power to all sectors, uninterrupted power and quality power to the industry and also regular home purpose and also to the agriculture. Agriculture, the government is paying 10,000 crores per annum per free power supply. This is also to fetch water from the bores and the wells. So pending projects completed, free power is given, 46,000 water tanks have repaired and new projects also constructed. So that now we are able to cultivate almost 230 lakh acres per annum. 230 against the 120 in 2014.
ओके मैं आपसे ब्रेक से जब वापस आऊंगा तो मैं आपसे जानूंगा कि क्या किसानों के फायदे के लिए फॉर देयर बेनिफिट व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन एट अ गवर्नमेंट लेवल. रिफॉर्म जरूरी है और अगर है जरूरी तो किस तरीके का रिफॉर्म और तेलंगाना उसमें क्या कर रहा है. स्टॉपिंग फॉर अ शॉर्ट ब्रेक, बी राइट बैक. वेलकम बैक. पल्ला राजेश्वर जी, मैं आप ही से शुरू करना चाहता हूं. ब्रेक पे जाने से पहले हम ये डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इज एग्रीकल्चरल रिफॉर्म एंड डू यू थिंक दैट तेलंगाना इज इन द राइट डायरेक्शन, वेदर बाय वे ऑफ अ लॉ टू बी ब्रॉट इन और assessment done by the state government?
I'll come to the three laws, black class, which are actually taken back by the central government. Before that, the government of Telangana has come out with a Raitu Bandhu scheme, which is 10,000 rupees per acre is a grant given for actually for a farmer. This is nowhere in India, which is well appreciated by the UNO as one of the best scheme across the globe.
But the central government also gives it.
It is the per annum they are giving 6,000 per entire farmer. If they have 10 acres or 20 acres or 50 acres, they are giving just 6,000 split into the two. But we are giving, if you have the 20 acres, we give 2 lakhs. If you have the 50 acres, 54 acres is the maximum. So if you have the 54 acres, we will give the 54 into 10, 5.4 lakhs. 5.4 lakhs. So nowhere in India, nowhere in the world, this is the unique scheme which is supporting the farmers. The second one, we have come out with a Raitu Bima scheme, in which generally we actually insure for ourselves, life insurance like that. When a poor farmer is unable to do that, we have been paying 1450 crores per annum to support these. Actually right now, we have given 80,000 farmers are benefited, 5 lakhs on actually when on their death. It is not the suicide. It is regular natural death.
ओके, क्विक क्लोजिंग कमेंट्स आपसे शुरू करते हैं एक एक करके. देखिए 8 साल की उपलब्धियां, उसके बारे में बखान हो गया, बात हो गई. आगे के लिए आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या चुनौतियां हैं, क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, क्या एरियाज हैं जिन पे काम करना बाकी है?
I'll start with the sector which I am holding right now, urban sector. I'll just give couple of figures. Tamil Nadu is the biggest, largest urbanized state with about 49% of its population being urban. Kerala is about 47. We are number 3rd in the country with 46.8, and then Maharashtra is number 4. Having said that, it's inevitable that cities are engines of economic growth. So for us being in this department, the challenge is how do we keep up with the urban infrastructure so as to accommodate more and more employment, more job opportunities and more living conditions. Just to give an example, Telangana is the only state which has unlimited FSI. FSI is floor space index, which means a builder can go up to unlimited height provided he is meeting all the other requirements of fire, NOC and things like that. Now, this gives builders an opportunity to kind of innovate, bring down cost. And I would like to add that Hyderabad has the lowest cost of kind of urban office space or living space anywhere when compared with the metros. It's about 4,800 rupees, which is lowest in the country today. We have the
4,800 rupees what?
Per SFT.
Okay.
If we take the cost of
Per
both
square feet.
per square feet, both commercial and residential. So when we compare with top 6 metros, it's the lowest in the country today. Hyderabad had the maximum occupation of office space last year. It has overtaken from Bangalore. So I see how do we cope up with growing requirements of cities, how do we take care of traffic requirements, and how do we add to urban infrastructure in terms of water, sanitation, and things like that.
My final question to you, Mr. Reddy, you know, if the city will get more urbanized, if the state gets more urbanized, there'll be more people, and does the chances of there being crime or law and order related issues, there will always be a possibility that this too increases. I want to know from you that going ahead, what according to you are those potential challenges that you may have identified, and what infrastructural requirements do you think that the policing system of the state needs to be able to meet them?
Today, we have achieved a certainty of being caught and certainty of being punished for every offender who commits crime in Telangana. We can confidently say that in every sensational crime, we have been able to catch the offenders within 24 hours to 48 hours and track them down, whoever may be, from whichever part of the country it may be. So that certainty gives the sense of safety and security to the citizens. Our prime focus has been the women's safety. If we are able to ensure that the women are safe, we have taken care of the society, the women, the aged, and the children. These are our focus. And for this, Telangana has, in the last 8 years, we have innovated in a big way. We have come in terms of the, come up in terms of the SHE teams, the Bharosa centers, and the networking with various segments of the society to ensure that the people feel safe and secure 24/7.
संकेत, अब तक आपको मालूम हुआ होगा तेलंगाना तो लंबी रेस का घोड़ा है. हम जितना भी रेस अब तक भागे, हम कौन सा तो भी एक मेडल जीते, इधर गोल्ड मेडल, सिल्वर मेडल और ब्रॉन्ज मेडल. ऐसा कोई रेस नहीं है हम मेडल ना जीते. क्यों बोलते हो? नेम वन सेक्टर वेयर इन वी आर लैगिंग बिहाइंड. As Mr. Palla has said, we are doing wonderfully well in agriculture. Not only in that, in all the things we are doing, we are in the top 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3 also.
As we saw with the COVID pandemic, one of the key important things that was required at that time was genomics, because it helped in coming up with vaccines, coming up with drugs, and also coming up with diagnostics, as well as understanding different variants. So I think when it comes to the future of healthcare and what we can do, I think given that we have probably one of the strongest infrastructures in the country, I think Telangana can become the ideal state where we can actually create a lot of this, these databases, and these databases can also be used even by the police department, can be used by the agricultural and many other cases, right? So in the end, I think that when it comes to healthcare and precision healthcare and all of that, it's not only helpful in prevention and diagnostics, but ultimately I think the understanding of DNA can help in many different sectors, whether it is in agriculture and others.
What about you?
So I think everyone here on the panel has already mentioned how growing our city is and the state is. So that itself is a very big boost for us, because they are paving a future for the youth, so which is a good sign. So I was hoping we could have more expos and more workshops happening around for youth to and something that I really wanted to mention before was Hyderabad is supportive of new career opportunities. It's not just about being a certain, like it was, if we take few years ago, it was only doctor or engineer or only few restricted careers. But now the state and KTR sir is very open to different career options. So that is one good thing about Hyderabad. We see a lot of young entrepreneurs and a lot of women entrepreneurs. So that is the way to go.
Okay, I think this is a very engaging discussion. आप सब लोगों का बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद. We covered a lot of ground, urban, rural. Congratulations to all of you for your state turns 8, and may you celebrate more glorious birthdays. Thank you so much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू।
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.